Palantir are a company at the forefront of efficient mass murder, mass surveillance and institutional infiltration. Their tools have been essential to the Gaza Genocide, the ICE atrocities and the massacre of 168 schoolgirls in Minab, Iran. So governments will tell us that Palantir, save us time and money, but automated warfare is something that should scare all of us. Palantir has already embedded itself into the armies, the police force, financial institutions and governments of at least 40 countries. So as Palantir and other genocide-linked tech companies move to and capture our entire system, I've come down to speak to these activists who are picketing outside Palantir on a weekly basis. So I've come to speak to them about what we can do about the tide of techno-militarized fascism.
Palantir was founded by Peter Thiel with funds from the CIA, and it was also funded by Jeffrey Epstein and Israeli state interests. It is probably the most sinister and dangerous company in the world. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, Palantir's CEO, are ardent Zionists and imperialists. Peter Thiel invested heavily in Donald Trump's election and personally nurtured Trump's chosen successor, Vice President J.D. Vance. Palantir defends and promotes the Israeli genocide against the Palestinian people as a righteous cause. This is what gathering and processing data effectively looks like when applied in real life by Palantir. The erasure of tens of thousands of people and their homes in Gaza is seen as an ideal and excellent use of its AI tools.
Palantir is the most evil private organisation in the world, and they work for the Americans, of course, and are responsible for a lot of AI involving guided missiles, guided bombs and so on. So they are implementing killing in Iran and many other places. So that's one reason why I'm here. And of course what's happening in Iran is fundamental to the whole world right now. And Iran has defeated America, I think, in military terms, and I think it spells the end of Israel, frankly. Israel will end. But we have to watch carefully what's going on and see what excuse the other side produce when they give up, because Trump will find some story or other, I don't know. He keeps announcing he's winning when he's losing. The more he says he's winning, the more he's losing, as far as I can see. America has been defeated, and that is fantastic. I mean, Iran, whatever people say about Iran, this, Iran, that, it's incredible that they've beaten
we have to thank them,
the US.
don't we?
We have to thank them, absolutely.
For the last few years, we've seen the rise of AI, we've seen the rise of Palantir kind of come in from America into the UK. That's something that's really concerned me. Millions of people's data with the NHS. We're seeing now all these contracts being put through with the government against mass dissatisfaction against this being pushed through anyways, which I find gravely concerning. The fact that people aren't being listened to, the general public just aren't really being valued by the government or by companies like Palantir. And we see people like the CEO of Spotify as well investing millions of pounds into AI drones, AI warfare. It's abhorrent to me. I look at it every day on the news and I'm disgusted and I'm scared for our future.
And of course it's going to kill culture, it's going to kill music or any sort of individual expression, and we still live in a society where a lot of people believe that freedom exists. So, I mean, what does freedom mean for you as a Gen Zer? How do you perceive freedom in the future?
It's weird. We see currently in the UK all of these face surveillance cameras are being brought up. There's a lot of things that are wrong with it. We see black and brown people being targeted when they haven't done anything because the systems just don't work. The government tries to say that these AI systems are our future and it helps us with freedom, but in reality, people who haven't committed any crimes are being targeted in their homes for things they didn't do. I think it's deeply concerning. I think AI should have nothing to do with our future, and I think it restricts us. I think there's a lot of money to be made from isolating people in their homes, keeping people on their phones constantly, using AI, kind of losing touch with humanity. And I think that really goes against our freedoms and what it means to be human. I think that's deeply upsetting.
Their business models are, in reality, founded on the principle that the biggest pirates in the world cannot be challenged. Now the main engine of US economic growth is AI companies constructed on global intellectual piracy. Palantir seeks to assist the United States to defeat Russia, China, and Iran economically and militarily, or, in the words of Donald Trump, to destroy their whole civilization. The supposedly new Western values championed are white nationalism and Zionist Christianity in the home countries. Projects intended to divide people one against each other based on religion, ethnicity, and skin color. The people who fall prey to these ideas are often white working class communities, left behind by technological and economic change, while refugees are implanted into their communities, generating hostility and antagonism. In fact, the United States, Britain, Israel, and its Middle Eastern allies systematically financed, trained, and armed Islamic fundamentalist networks like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and the present HTS government in Syria. This generated millions of refugees, a fact quite successfully concealed from flag-waving British nationalists. The precipitous fall in support for Israel in the United States has led the Zionists to shift focus to Great Britain. Tommy Robinson, funded by the same Robert Shillman and backed by Elon Musk, has been charged with orchestrating an extra-parliamentary festival this Saturday, misnamed Unite the Kingdom. This is designed to stoke up anti-Muslim hatred and bolster support for Israel while promoting Christian nationalist values.
I think people are disempowered and therefore they're focusing on one concrete thing that they think they can mobilise around Palestine, the other concrete thing that they can mobilise are anti-refugees, and that's the subdivision in society at the moment, the main political subdivision in society. You don't have protests about housing, about wages, about strikes, barely any other type of protest take place. So society has been divided along lines that happen to correspond with the interests of the Zionists and of the same people who run these companies and run like Elon Musk company and all this sort of thing. It's a layer of people who are promoting the idea of white nationalism, anti-Islam, and trying to divide the people around the question of trying to justify the killings in Gaza, because of course otherwise, the whole Western society will eventually ask, why is it we are supporting genocide?
But I guess besides the split of the anti-immigration people and the pro-Palestine people, there's a huge sector of society, not Middle England types who probably don't identify with reform,
yes,
who should be concerned about this for their children, right?
Yes,
the future of their children.
A lot of people are concerned about AI or social media, and all this is all interconnected. But where they don't see the association is with the sinister role of the AI companies, of the leading AI companies, in utilising their technology as a mechanism for accelerating their power and influence over the world and facilitating all sorts of barbaric acts. Now, there has been quite a lot of political discussion about this, which will gradually seep through to the population.
Yeah, so a lot of MPs are against, and there's a back out of the NHS contract in February that's gathering some momentum, right?
Yes, that's true. We've got to petition ourselves to Parliament, which we're hoping will gradually accumulate sufficient support to force a debate in Parliament around the question of, force not only debate in Parliament, but a public inquiry into how it is and why it is that this company and that the other defence-related AI companies have gained such a foothold on British public sector information. Just at a time, and this point is, they're facilitating the most rapid utilisation of this information at a time when governments and political authority has diminished and been lost in the eyes of the public. And so exactly at the time when the authority of the state and of its political institutions is declining, they're facilitating a massive expansion in their power. So this is why, if you like, the appearance on is that people like Keir Starmer, who is an utter non-entity, is one of the most authoritarian leaders we've ever had. So this is the contradiction, you know.
And we could have Wes Streeting soon.
And we could have Wes Streeting, who was very much involved in the agreements with. He was nurtured by Peter Mandelson. He's very much involved in getting the agreements with the NHS done. And the NHS data is not just about helping, facilitating the NHS operation. It opens the door for Palantir to gain control over genetic databases and all the type of information which could be used by eugenicists and could be used for, poisoning people, manipulating people's bodies, causing harms.
Palantir, meanwhile, is worming its way into the state and public sector through multiple public sector contracts. Many of the people in the company, or those who use its AI systems, with unprecedented information and surveillance tools to monitor and control and manipulate the population. This is true for policing, finance, health, and therefore biological and genetic data, all of which can be combined together in ways that make the powers of surveillance and control in Hitler's Germany look like the work of amateurs. There is also some good news. Some 1,000 highly paid AI workers at Google's DeepMind recently joined the Communication Workers Union because they opposed their work being used to kill people in Gaza. We ask you to sign our petition to Parliament, demanding a public inquiry into the role of defence-related AI companies in the public sector. We call on all public sector contracts with Palantir to be cancelled. We need your support. Share this video. Share the petition to Parliament. Come to our protests. Help us defeat the rise of AI tyranny. We are here every Thursday at 4 p.m. to protest the way that AI is being abused in general, and by Palantir in particular.